Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am Justin, host of the Rise Up podcast. I'm here with Mr. Steve Wolf. He is the CEO and co founder of More Surface Care. They are a company that develops eco friendly, high performance, water based sealers, cleaners, and enhancer products specifically for to protect and preserve stone, tile, and like quartz surfaces. And they have a really amazing product that is all about protecting marble, which is like that's really really hard to do. Well, I'll let Steve enlighten us on that. But they work with brands like luxury brands like Ritz Carlton, Four Seasons, Venetian in Las Vegas, and other brands around the world, as well as homes and people in their homes. So, Steve, welcome to the Rise Up podcast. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Justin. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate it.
Okay, so tell me, I always love just starting at the beginning, not where you were born and all that, but just how did you begin more surface care? How did the whole beginning of the origins of the brand start, and how has it evolved to today?
Question. I'll start with this is going back to the early 2000s, but it is relevant. So I joined a company um, called Stone Tech in I think 2002 it was, and that is actually a brand of sealers and cleaners that we still compete with today. And so back then I was there for about 3 years. We ended up selling the business to DuPont. DuPont was one of our suppliers for a key raw material. DuPont went downstream and bought a consumer business. And then I ended up general managing that division for DuPont for about 9 years until DuPont decided to get out of the consumer products business. And they sold the Stone Tech division in 2014 to a company called Latacrete, which is in the building material space. And that's when my co-founder and I, Mark, decided that we or realized that we had maybe a better vision for bringing these types of products to market in a more simple fashion. And the two of us kind of broke away after that sale of the business, and then founded More Surface Care in 2015. And
Okay,
a
so
decade later, here we are.
have you like have you always had an interest in, like, do you come from like an engineering background or an organic chemistry background or chemical? I don't know. Like, have you always had an interest in that, and then that just kind of segued into, as you got us caught up to speed on that? Like, give
Yeah,
me the lay of the land
that's a
there.
great question, one that I get often, and the answer is no. I'm a I'm a finance and marketing guy. Mark Desker, again, my co-founder, he was a sales guy, and
Okay.
we knew each other at Stone Tech, so we knew each other for almost 15 years before we started the business. However, having worked in this business for that long, especially with DuPont, you even if you're not a chemist, you learn over time how things work, and maybe more importantly, you learn who to work with um, to help you develop chemistries that you want to bring to market. So our strategy has been collaborating with our suppliers. We kind of set the specs, we collaborate with suppliers, and then we know enough about chemistry to be able to converse. We just don't have the technical degrees.
Okay. So who are your describe your ideal client, because you do B2B and then you also do B2C. So who would be on the B2B side, who would be your ideal, like, people that you typically work with or want to work with?
Yeah. So we generally sell through what we call stone and tile, specialty stone and tile dealers. So the way to maybe bring that to life is if you were going through a kitchen remodel in whatever city you were in, you would likely visit one of these showrooms that is selling stone and tile materials, and then you would select everything that you need for your remodel, maybe with the help of a designer. And ideally, the salespeople at the dealer would be recommending products for to care for the natural stone, and they might bring you over to a rack of our products sitting there in the showroom.
Okay.
So that's
So,
kind of our B2B channel. We've got
okay.
I don't know, close to 500 dealers nationwide.
Nice. And then on the B2C, you sell directly from the website, or do you
Yeah,
have
through
other partners?
directly from the website, also through Amazon. Um, and then, professionals will also buy direct, but they mainly buy through distribution. Uh, and then we'll go into this later, but we've got the anti-etch product that is a professional use product only. And that kind of has a separate channel, if you will, that we can talk about.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, let's dive into that in a bit. But I'd like to maybe, if it's okay with you, just as you're, you and your co-founder are running this business, like what does it? When I ask this question, you're gonna be like, I already know what you're gonna say, but I also kind of want to know at the same time. Is like what does an average day or a typical day look like for you?
That's, that's I know you know what I'm going to say, and that is there is no average.
No day's the same. Yeah, I know, but I'd like
Uh,
to. I mean, but you have unique challenges within the industry, right? Like, I want to know, like, what are those like when you're dealing with those on a day to day? What does that look like?
yeah. So I guess for me, because of my background, finance, marketing, that's kind of where my skills are. So I probably tend to lean into those functions a little more on a day to day basis. And we are financially, we're doing some pretty cool things that are new for the business. We're doing some joint ventures. We're looking at some merger and acquisition opportunities. Those are uh, obviously some, at least in part, financial endeavors. And then on the marketing side, we just brought in a new marketing leader to our executive team, and so we're kind of leveling up our marketing game. And I think in 26 we'll be doing lots of things from a marketing standpoint that we've never done before. And then so it's probably marketing and finance is where I spend my time. I'm obviously involved in all aspects of the business, including R&D, but we've got people in our company that are responsible for those functions.
Yeah, I'm curious. Are you able to elaborate on what do those marketing endeavors look like, or are those like trade secret type things right now?
I think I'm gonna maybe keep that on the DL for now.
Okay, okay, that's fair.
Um,
That's fair. I
at least
appreciate
on
that.
the joint venture and the M&A side, those are
Yeah,
on the DL.
yeah.
But for the marketing side, yeah, I can say we're in the process of relaunching our website. Um, I actually believe it's targeted to launch at the end of this week, and
Nice. Cool. Okay.
mainly because we're trying to up our D2C game, and we realized the new marketing leader realized that functionally the website just wasn't built for that, and rather than trying to modify it, we concluded that starting from scratch would be the best approach.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Probably by the time this is edited and launched, the new website will be live as well. So we'll
yeah,
we'll
you're
make
right.
sure we give you a plug on that one towards
Fantastic.
the end. But the okay, so what are you seeing in the industry right now? What are some of the biggest challenges you're facing? What are some of the biggest opportunities you're seeing? Because it's a very specific, you know, um, niche that you're in. I'm just curious.
Great question. So, as you may know, over the last probably 15 years, natural stone has lost market share to quartz, which is a engineered man-made material. Um, and it was, developed to kind of address a lot of the deficiencies of natural stone, and that is kind of care and maintenance, staining, etching. Um, and so quartz is probably about 50% of the market now. Now we do have products for quartz, so we kind of span the gamut. However, our passion is really for stone. Um, But with you may have heard of this, there's a series of there are some health issues now with quartz regarding the manufacturing of quartz. So when you're cutting a quartz a slab into a countertop, there's dust that is emitted into the air, and it's really not healthy to breathe it in. So there's kind of some turmoil in that regard. And I think as a result of that, natural stone is coming back a little bit. Uh, and then maybe segueing into one of our products for marble specifically, um, we have a product that prevents staining and etching. I'll explain what that is in a second uh, for marble, and it's really allowing people to choose marble confidently, whereas over the you know until now you really couldn't do that. You had to walk around with a sponge
Yeah.
and chasing your guests to make sure they didn't spill anything if you wanted a pristine countertop.
Yeah, which is notorious for marble specifically, right?
Correct.
Like,
So,
like,
I'll
don't
just
breathe on it. It's beautiful, but don't breathe on it.
yeah. Don't breathe on it. Don't
Yeah,
look at it.
don't look
Just
at it.
let it,
Yeah,
and don't use it. Right.
yeah,
Uh,
I know, which defeats the purpose of it, right? Like, it's the whole point is to have it, to
yeah.
use it, right?
Well,
Okay.
it's interesting because marble in Europe, um, nobody really, generally speaking, nobody cares about the caring for it in the way that we do in the U.S. In fact, I think it's a little bit of a badge of honor in Europe to have patina on the countertop, which is spills, stains, etches, and every etch tells a story. But in the U.S., I think generally speaking, people want things looking new for as long as possible.
So actually, let's while we're on that subject, like, tell us more about that product that you developed. We'll get back into industry trends. We're gonna go on a slight tangent here, but what like give give explain to me, because I am not a chemist or anything, like, why the product that you developed, what is it, like, how does it work, um and why should somebody want to use it? I mean, you'd probably answer that question, but
Yeah, perfect setup. So for marble, and I'll just explain technically why marble is unique. So it's what we call an acid sensitive stone. It's made of minerals that are sensitive to acids, whereas granite is not. You can pour acid all over granite, nothing will happen. But with marble, if you drop coffee, lemon juice, wine, even for seconds on a polished piece of marble, you'll wipe it away and there will be a dull spot. And it's not a stain. It's literally the polish has been eaten away by the acid. And now that dull spot is permanent unless you refinish it mechanically with sandpaper and polishing tools. So you've probably seen those rings in a on a bar top in a restaurant.
yeah,
Those are
yeah.
all acid etches, and they are permanent unless you remove them. So we developed a product that protects the marble from etching, also from staining. But the key innovation is that we're able to do this without changing the look of the stone. And and the reason that's important is there are quite a few solutions for stopping etching and staining, but they all change the look of the stone. Some of them are plastic and they look like maybe a plastic cover on your grandmother's couch, back in the day. And if you've chosen marble for how it looks, you really don't want to. You want it to look that way, and so I think that's why this product has been rewarded in the marketplace. Is really the look and feel um, that we're able to achieve, and at the same time preventing the etching and staining.
So how long did it take you to develop that product specifically?
Yeah, so we founded the company in 2015. We started working on it right away, and I think our beta came out in 2017. 2018, we launched it at a trade show in Vegas. So call it 3 years.
Okay. All right. And how I mean, how have sales been going with it? I mean, have you seeing, like, what's the
Yeah, I mean, it's
How's it been
been
received
the
in the
growth
market? Yeah.
engine of our company since then.
Awesome.
We made the Inc 5000 4 times since then on the backs of this product. And maybe the cool thing about this technology is that once you it opens up a conversation about all of our other products. So you
Uh,
start the conversation with more anti-etch, and then naturally customers are like, well, what else do you have? And then we've got this whole portfolio of the cleaners and the sealers and everything else.
right. Actually, yeah, and another segue, like, um, what is kind of that portfolio? If you were to kind of put them into the major buckets, just so somebody is aware of what you all the other products that you offer as well.
Yeah. So we've got a set of everyday cleaners and heavy duty cleaners, all designed specifically for natural stone and tile. Our best selling product in the company is called Stone and Quartz Cleaner Plus Protector. So it's a neutral pH, very mild cleaner, and we have a little bit of sealer in there. So every time you clean, you're reinforcing the protection of the original sealer. And we sell more of that product than anything else on a volume basis. Um, and then our best selling sealer is called More Premium Stone Sealer. So it's a very high performance fluorinated sealer that protects from staining only, not etching. So you can pour, olive oil and other greasy foods all over it, and nothing will happen. And we've got 3 levels of that product, so sort of good, better, best, and it's the one right in the middle that's our best seller there, and we sell that all over North America.
Okay. And then pardon my ignorance here, is it only indoor, like stone and natural products, or is it outdoor, like patios and stuff too?
Yeah, great question. So we also have a portfolio of products for outdoor landscapes and mainly sold through landscape supply stores. So if you have concrete pavers or stone pavers, we have products that protect those as well.
Cool. All right, good. I mean, it's good to know, like, just the breadth of the product lines that you guys have. Um, what are you seeing in the industry? Kind of going back to that now. Let's touch base if you don't mind. Like, you seeing like, are tariffs impacting you? Are these kind of things impacting you? Or like, do you source all of your stuff, within the United States, or what's going on in that light?
Uh, we do source everything domestically. Um, there could be some raw materials that come from abroad that go into the raw materials that we buy, but from our understanding, I don't know, the vast majority is actually built and uh, or manufactured in the U.S. So we haven't really been noticeably impacted by the tariffs, which is certainly a positive.
Good. Good. Well, that's good news, because almost everyone I've talked to has been impacted, and they're like, it's highly frustrating. Because
Yeah,
they
well, it,
debate.
it is funny.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit about the joint venture for a second. So um, when that comes to, we'll be purchasing some equipment, capital equipment for that endeavor, and most likely going to be coming from overseas. And tariffs are absolutely in the conversation. And the people we're talking to keep reminding us, don't forget about the tariffs because it's another, 14% on the top of what we're
Yeah.
discussing. So
Ouch.
yeah,
Oh boy. So what has been as you've been growing the business, pivoting and growing, what are some of the challenges that you've faced or currently facing at the moment? Like when you are looking to expand, just what's bottlenecking for you? Like what's going
yeah,
on in that?
that's a great question, and I would say it's primarily people related. So as a startup, you've got a couple guys that are doing everything, and then you begin to hire we finally have an executive team, and most of the major roles are filled. And now the big challenge is we've got these sort of leaders and we don't have enough doers.
Mm,
Uh, so we're now trying to build out each of the functions. So marketing, sales, operations, and we run on EOS. Are you familiar with EOS?
yeah, yeah, a little bit.
So
Yeah.
we just started that about 2.5 years ago. That's been transformational for us in terms of just envisioning what we want the company to be, envisioning what we want the team to look like, and creating the discipline, and installing the discipline within the company to make all that happen. EOS will become I think, an increasingly important part of our business as we
Mm.
begin to scale.
That's exciting. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, the challenges of growth, right? Like now you have the team in place. Okay, who are gonna get to do the work?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Um, and I imagine there's, within more, there's, you have uh very specialized things that you probably have to deal with. You have the kind of the org side, but then you have the specificity of what you guys do. It's exciting, challenging, but also exciting.
Yeah.
So what metrics are you looking to improve, the next 6-12 months?
Um, Probably our, as we grow, it's a little bit harder to grow at the same rate. So, we're seeing, almost by definition, the percentage growth year over year is smaller now than it was at the very beginning. But we have you heard of the book called 10x is easier than 2x?
No,
It,
I
it,
have not.
I would highly recommend it.
Okay.
We're trying to be inspired by this book, and basically I think the message is, if you think much bigger, like 10x, it's actually a lot easier because it requires you to eliminate a lot of levers that you might pull to just go for 2x, and then you end up being very focused on one or two things that can get you to 10x. Now, we don't have the answer for our business yet, but we're going to go through this annual planning period in December, or basically in the fourth quarter, and we're trying to design a business plan that will 10x our business in 3 years. Um,
Awesome.
that probably sounds ridiculous on its face, but that's what we're going to try to do.
No, no, it's not. I'm a big believer, just like you. Like sometimes you have to think way bigger than what you perceive initially. Because in my opinion, if you strive for 10x and you get to 8x,
There you go. Yeah.
you're not at 2x.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you didn't get to 10x, but you got materially beyond
Yeah,
2x. Yeah,
yeah. Would you much rather take 8x over 2x? Of course you would.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Most people just fall short of, the big goal. Like hit it. Like go think big, you
yeah.
know?
So that's kind of what we are focused on right now, and maybe if we do another podcast in the first quarter, I can give you the update on how that turned out.
Yeah, that'd be great. We could do a 2.0. There's a couple people I'd love to continue the conversation with. It'd be awesome. So, Steve, if you could wave a metaphorical magic wand and just fix one thing in your business that's holding you back, what would that?
Okay, so I there's also a concept that we've learned about recently. It's called the who, not how, and it's all about, rather than trying to figure out how to do things that you don't know how to do, don't worry so much about that and go find the person that actually has that expertise and bring that person into your business, either as an employee or a consultant or a contractor, whatever that might be. And I think this is, as you're transitioning from the early days to kind of midlife, for a founder like me who was doing everything at the beginning, you sort of have this tendency to think that in order for us to do this new thing, we actually have to figure out how to do it ourselves. And the reality is, it's not really true. You can get there much faster and easier if you just find somebody else who already knows how to do it.
Mm,
So that would be, if I could wave the magic wand, it would be sort of embracing that concept early in our life cycle than than we have. And so right now, I think we're doing a better job in embracing that, and not wringing our hands so much on figuring out how to do it. Just go get the right guy.
so I have a question for you. Like, if you don't mind me, I'm just curious. Okay, so how do you balance finding that right person with capital and cash flow?
Uh, that's a great question, and I think our answer to that has been using fractional resources. Uh, so some of the leaders I just referenced a few minutes ago, our marketing leader is fractional, so they're not full time, but they sit in that seat and they are responsible for that function for our business. Now, at the time that our business, scales or grows to a size where we need a full time person, we will cross that bridge. But I think there's this whole world of fractional resources. I know that's a little bit of a buzzword, but it's a meaningful term in the sense that hiring somebody for their expertise and only that, and nothing more until you can afford the
Mm,
full package.
mhm. Okay. I always just was curious about how do you get there? Because you need that level of leadership, and some people just don't. I mean, because I know, like, hire a full-time CMO or whatever. I mean, it's a, or a CTO or a CFO. Like, those are expensive
Yeah,
jobs to
they're
fill.
very expensive seats. I
Right.
think the titles also make them a little more expensive. So if you really want to hire a CMO with that title, that profile is going to cost you more than a head of marketing. So I think you need to be really diligent about figuring out exactly what you need and hire just for that. Don't hire ahead of it. Hire for what you need today, because likely it'll be less expensive.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Cool. I appreciate you. Sharing your insights on that, because I think there's people that, as they're growing businesses, they hit certain levels and they need to just think differently about how to go about it. And so you're crossing those bridges as we speak, right? So it's good to, just let other people know that, that this is how you do it, or this is
Yeah.
a way to do it, right? Okay.
Yeah. This is a way to do it, and
Yeah.
it's not. It's also a function of you know trying things that didn't work, and then and realizing maybe later than we would have liked that this approach seems to be working for us right now,
Working for you
and
guys. Okay.
we'll kind of lean on it until it doesn't work.
Okay. Couple more questions for you if you don't mind. So now, kind of getting reflective, looking back, since you started the company in 2015, what is one piece of business you would give to your younger self, knowing what you know now?
If you, I love this question, maybe I like the answer of the question. For me, I always had a vision of being an entrepreneur, and but I didn't do it until I was in my late 40s, and it was because I felt like I needed to check all these boxes in the corporate world before I felt like I had enough experience to confidently put some capital on the line and start a business. And what I realized soon after starting the business is you're really never going to know enough. And
Nope.
quite honestly, This is the sad part of it. The skills that you're developing in the corporate world are not really the skills you need as an entrepreneur. So my advice to anybody wanting to be an entrepreneur is do it soon. Do it like early in your career. Do it before you have a family and kids and before you have all these commitments, because you have the ability to fail, and it's not going to ruin your life. Uh yeah, I think it's more about the skills. Don't worry so much, because once you're in the trenches, you're going to be developing skills that you never really got in the corporate world. So
It's very
that's
true.
my
Very
key
true.
advice there.
So how kind of digging a little bit more into that, if you don't mind exploring this real quick, is like, the journey of entrepreneurship is an up and down, backwards, forwards, mind-numbing experience. It's filled with highs and lows and everything in between. What keeps you hopeful and energized during the times that are tough?
It's a great question, and I would say that when you're if you have a bias for action and making decisions, um, you're able to get that learning sooner than if you're sort of delaying and deferring decisions. And I think it raises the probability of success if you're making decisions and taking risks, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
kind of like the software model where, you know, what do they call that? The minimum viable product, rather
Yeah, MVP, yeah.
than waiting, developing software that takes you 10 years for the what you think is perfect, and then you launch it and you find out that you've got all this feedback. You could have gotten that feedback 9 years earlier if you would have just put the product out there. So that's kind of this whole mindset of iterating, making decisions, and maybe just having that bias for action, not sitting still. I think that raises the probability of success.
Hmm, that's very good. Um, what is, I have just 2 more questions for you. This one's slightly a bit more reflective, the other one's a little bit more fun. Um, yeah, so I'm not gonna end on all hard stuff here. I'll try to end on some good stuff, but, I'd like to peel back a little bit more just about you as a co-founder, as a leader, as you're building a team, as you're looking to expand, looking to, the endeavors that you have lined up for 2026 and beyond, and the 10x um, goal, right? Is how do you, Steve, like you personally, how do you stay? Let me rephrase this question. How do you find peace? Like, what do you do personally to, um, to stay sane throughout all of it? Because entrepreneurs, we can work all the time. We could do, at least I can. I feel like a robot sometimes, or a machine. I could just keep going and going and going. But you have to be able to pause and breathe and reflect. What are some things that you do personally to do that?
That's a great question, and I think I would say there's two things. One is I try to stay fit, and I'm doing some sort of weight training at least 4 times a week, and even on the days that I don't want to do it, like the how you feel after that session is you're very very happy that you kind of willed yourself to work out that day, um, and that gives you a level of serenity and focus, and kind of the ability to maybe set aside the stresses of the business for that period of time. Um, and then maybe another thing is, this is actually more of a uh, recent thing that we're doing. So My wife and I, we used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area. We sold our house when we sent our youngest daughter to college, and we moved into the country. And we have a little, I don't know, I would call it a little mini ranch property. And, we've got dogs, we've got chickens. There's actually about 6 head of cattle that are not ours, but are on the property. And just walking around is also kind of provides that level of serenity and just allows you to take a deep breath and kind of separate the day from, you separate the business from your life and kind of appreciate what life is,
The the environment,
the environment.
is important, right? You know, the what you surround yourself with. I live in Idaho, and you know, it's looking out, there's a pond, and I see the ducks and all that stuff, and it makes a
Absolutely.
big difference, like, over
It really
time, like,
does.
like, you can look out and just breathe, like, you're just a mental, break, so,
Totally agree.
okay. I appreciate you, giving a little bit of insight on your own way of managing business, because I think it's important for people to understand that, um, life is short. Like, we do need to enjoy the things
Truly.
around us sometimes,
Yeah. And
that
I think, and as you get older, you probably experience this. It
yeah,
feels like everything's moving faster. Like
yeah.
where did that 12 months go? Like when,
Seriously,
yeah, when
seriously.
you're a teenager in high school, like, it can't go any slower. And then when you
Right,
get older, it's just flying by.
right. I wholeheartedly agree with you. It just goes by faster and faster and faster. I just turned 50, so it's like now I'm like, "Holy crap, I got 10 years and I'm gonna be 60." It's like, "Oh my, I gotta get on it. I gotta get on it." Yeah, it's going by so fast. This year, like, oh my goodness. Okay, last question. Easy one. Like, how do people find you? Like, how do people get a hold of you? What's your website? You have any, like, promotions you got going? You got a new website coming out that's gonna be launched fairly soon. So, like, what's going on? How do people get a hold of you?
Great. Website is moresurfacecare.com, and more is MORE. And maybe I'll just explain what the significance of more is.
Yeah,
So
that'd be great.
it's a family name. It was my dad's middle name. It's our youngest daughter's middle name, and I believe my father, or yeah, my dad's. It was somebody's last name at one point in my dad's side of the family. But so we wanted a little bit of a tie to kind of the family, but then also, it has a double meaning, like more peace of mind, more performance, more clean, more protection. And so
Love it.
that's where that came from.
Love it. It's
Uh,
spelled the same way in your
yeah,
family
yeah,
lineage?
MORE.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
All right. I'm glad you, shared that with us.
yeah,
So, moresurfacecare.com,
yeah,
MORE,
correct.
surfacecare.com. So if you're listening to this, go there, check them out. And then I'll also put the link in the show notes, so people can, click on it and go check you out and see the new website, order some products. Next
Very
time
good.
you're doing a remodel, or if you're a distributor or a person, if you're a business that needs some of the best surface care products for stone and natural tile, Steve's your man. Thank you so much for spending time with me today on the Rise Up podcast. I appreciate it. I really
Thank
do.
you, Justin. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure getting to know you.
Likewise. And, and I'll say it, if nobody said it to you recently, I'm going to tell you, I'm proud of you. Thank
Oh,
you so much
thank you.
for taking the energy and the effort, you and your co-founder, to build such an amazing business and amazing products that makes people's lives better. And it takes people like you to do that. And I just want to say thanks, man. I'm proud of you for doing
I
that.
appreciate
Takes a
that. Thank
lot.
you very much.
Takes a lot. So great way to end today's episode. Thank you guys for listening, for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you.